Hey guys, welcome back to Overtakes, and this is Misfit.
And I'm Kel.
And we are here with our power rankings for the end of week 2, start of week 3. Alright guys, here's part 2. This is numbers 10 to 1. And here we go.
Alright, so at 10.
I got the Gladiators.
Oh, you got the Gladiators that far. I had London there.
I believe in London because, well, I'm a fanboy, and you give certain people the opportunity to shine, and they just exceed your expectations.
Yeah.
In whatever they do, eating pizza, playing Zarya, whatever. Profit, man. I had them at 9. It's not like I had them at much higher, just because they did lose 2 games, but the tide is starting to turn.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the Gladiators, I don't know what it is about them this year. I thought they would. I mean, granted, I've picked against them quite a bit. They've had a tough schedule. It's not like they were playing like chopped liver teams. I mean, they got stuck playing a match that, you know, a revenge kind of match for against Fissure. Mm-hmm. Then they go and beat the Shock. And then this week they lose, but I had to have them lower. It just, there's certain, like, their off tank position to me is not great. And Roar, for as much as we talked about him, man, does he die a lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
he really does. He
was getting fucking owned.
Yeah. No, I kind of, I'm with you. I'm down to put them at 10 because, like, I still, after the way that London played by actually putting Profit in the best position possible, and then also with the Philly situation, and then just knowing what we know about the Shock, I agree, I can't put the Gladiators above any of those teams right now.
Yeah, and London finally figured it out. You put the guy with the best tracking on Zarya. Mm-hmm. And the best game sense. I mean, Birdring's great, but is he? I mean, but at Zarya, he just wasn't cutting it. And Guard gives you more versatility, mm-hmm. where he can play Brigitte, he can play Sombra at a really high level. His Sombra is fantastic.
Yes.
And then you have just Profit being Profit on Zarya, mm-hmm. and you get him out of Brigitte jail.
Exactly. That was the most, like, it still baffles me why they had like, even with, like, why would you not put Birdring on that? Like, was he that bad at Brigitte? Like, if you wanted to have Birdring in there, why not put him on that and put your best tracking player on Zarya? It just didn't make any sense. But honestly, making the change and putting Fury in, 100% the changes they needed to make.
Yeah, and Guard, you mean?
Guard.
Yeah, you sound like me now.
Yeah, because Fury's been playing. That's right.
Fury's phenomenal.
Yeah, Fury's amazing.
And Gesture,
and honestly, like, I feel like it's opened it up for Fury to be even better.
And Gesture has, like, got a new lease on life, it seems like, because all of a sudden his Reinhardt looks fantastic this week. Mm-hmm. As soon as they put Profit on Zarya.
Because they, like, the chemistry that those two have with those two characters is just, it was perfect. Yeah,
and then you throw Fury in there, and they're just going to be back to being London. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm a little reluctant to get too crazy, but I think they figured out what they needed to do. Mm-hmm. They got a little bit of work to do, and I think by the end of this stage, they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they'll be back up there. So, number 8, I have Toronto.
No, this would be 9.
Oh, 9. Oh,
yeah, because we had Hangzhou at 12, Guangzhou at 11, Gladiators at 10.
9 London.
Oh, 9 London. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
9 London. 8, I got Toronto. I want to put them up higher, but that match that they lost against Atlanta, they got baited into a lot of shit, and you saw some of the flaws.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic first couple of maps, and then Atlanta's better right now. for sure.
Yeah.
But where do you have Philadelphia after this week?
I had Philly at 8.
Okay, I have Philly at 7. I'm totally fine with swapping them.
Yeah, I feel like Philly, the fact that they looked so bad against or without Boombox, like, scares me.
They lost to Florida.
Yeah, right, and like the teams that they lost to, the way that they lost, like, it just did not. It was not a good week for them.
No, it's not. But it just screams that the teams in a league with elite flex supports are the good teams.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that, it just shows.
And we've been on the Boombox train for a really long time.
I mean, he's the original.
Even some fans of Philly were not big fans of Boombox, but it's just like, now do you see why we thought this way?
Yeah.
Dude he is a difference maker. 100%.
He totally is. And, well, this week proved it. Mm-hmm. Because they lost 2 games. They lost to Florida, and they lost to Dallas.
And it's nothing against Elk, but he is not a Zenyatta player, and that is the biggest issue.
And I see that as a big issue in the league. There aren't too many teams with another guy. Like, the Valiant have an edge on some of that stuff, because if anything happened to Izzyaki, you could throw Kareev in there, and you're maybe not right now at Izziaki's level, but you got someone who knows how to play the position, plays it really well, and you can grind stuff out.
Exactly.
These other teams, like, if anything ever happened where Jonak couldn't play, New York's going to have Animo or Arc or maybe one of their DPS guys, Nene, or I don't know who else has played Zenyatta on that team.
Right. But yeah,
what happens there?
Yeah, they need Boombox back.
Yeah.
And until he comes back, I have to lower them quite a bit.
Yeah.
And honestly, it'll just be more of a. I feel like we're just going to have our points proven with the next game that he's back and he's playing.
Yeah.
So at 7.
Let's talk Toronto, shall we?
Yes. Hey guys.
Hey,
everyone doubted us when we said that we thought Toronto was going to be good.
Heard this team called the Toronto Defiant. Yeah, they're fucking good.
Yep.
And everyone that said that they weren't that good, well, you're finding out.
Yeah.
And they don't even have their whole team there yet.
Right.
Which is why this week was, I thought it was going to be a big test. Atlanta was a big test. It kind of was a fail. Mm-hmm. It might have been closer if Neko was there. I still think Atlanta's a lot better.
Yeah, I think that game more just proved that Atlanta is an elite team, whereas Toronto still has some things that they need to work on. But it's not to say that they played poorly, because they were in it in every single match. They just didn't have enough.
Yeah, it just was a little bit like, because Aid played really well. There's another team that has a backup as far as like a Zen player that works out, because I mean they won 2 games with him.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, still for this team, the biggest thing is Envy.
Yeah,
we can't talk enough about how big Envy is for this team.
Yeah, and Ivy as well.
Yes,
fucking Ivy's a beast on Zarya. I mean,
he is.
Him and Kareev were just like ripping everybody to shreds in that fucking match that they played. It was unbelievable. Like, the damage numbers were like insane. Mm-hmm. I think he had 92,000 throughout the whole match.
Yeah, actually, another player with them is Ivy's fucking ridiculous. But
Stellar's great. I mean,
Stellar was great.
Yakpung's a great main tank too.
He has some moments where he just gets a little too aggressive. That's kind of their but that's kind of their MO. Like, they remind me of Philly last year, where they are just like every other team fight, like, one guy's like, okay, this is my turn to be like hyper aggressive, and I'm gonna get a kill. I'll die too, but it's gonna put us in an advantage because I got the kill on this person.
Yeah, I got the kill on the Zen, or I knocked out the Zarya, or whatever. They do things because
someone where it's like them dying, like
it's a decent trade-off.
1-for-1, it's a better trade-off because they just have the better setup.
Yeah, and they also have a better. Remember, they have Bishop as their coach.
Yes.
So the more he gets to work with these guys, like with game film, like actual game VODs and all that kind of stuff, and like their own and other teams seeing what they do, they're just going to get better.
Yeah.
I think right now, though, I think this is a good spot for them because the other teams that are in front of them we're getting really towards the elite.
Yeah.
And these teams.
There is a team that took a tumble.
Yeah. Well.
At number 6. San Francisco.
You lose 2 games. I mean, you lost to the Gladiators. I gave them that one as a pass.
Right.
Because the Gladiators are on their level. And I kind of gave them the loss to Vancouver today as a pass, but they got fucking buried.
Yeah, like,
not
that's
quite.
The one thing that, like, worries me is, like, they got crushed by Vancouver.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it worries me for San Francisco or worries me for the rest of the league.
Right.
Because Vancouver's that good. I mean, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there were... Also, they started out with some... San Francisco started out with some weird stuff going on there. I like Sinatra on the Zarya. I mean, even Bren, I think, said at the halftime, he thinks he's the top... You know, Zarya's his top hero over Tracer. Which is fantastic for San Francisco, because that's one less Tracer main that they have, I guess. Well, because they had Striker in playing Widow and stuff like that. I mean, I get it on certain maps, but damn it, he's so good at Zarya.
This is part of the issue we saw, and we kind of were worried was going to happen, is like, because they had so much talent on DPS, how many weird, like, unwarranted switches are they going to make that are going to hurt them? And that's what worries me the most. I feel like at some point it will come together and they'll kind of gel and find the right fit, but that's the one thing that kind of keeps them back from truly being an elite team.
Yeah, and you have to have, right now, in this meta, I think you have to have Architect Sinatra.
Yeah.
Because Architect proves he can flex onto a bunch of different stuff. Like, he was playing Ana today, like, really, really well. And
yeah, his hero pool is ridiculous.
And you got Sinatra, who's insane on Zarya. You just got to keep that. I mean, in a perfect world, you want to have Striker in there. But until they get into, like, a multiple DPS meta, he's not as good at Zarya as Sinatra, and he's not a projectile player like, or a, multiple hero player like Architect.
Right.
So, unfortunately, you got one of the best DPS players in the league sitting on the bench, but he's joining a bunch of other guys.
Right.
I mean, he's not the only one. I mean, you got Sabiobi and Birdring, and, some of those guys are just going to have to wait it out.
Yeah, they really are. And, like, that's the biggest thing is the meta. I mean, they need to play. They need to settle on those guys for this meta because that's just what's going to work the best. Like, you have Striker for when you're going to need him, and I'm sure that time will come, but that is not right now.
Yeah,
I understand they want to give him some stage time and whatnot, but, like, you got to win some games.
Yeah, and especially the way things are going. The whole parity, NFL parity we got going on. I mean, everybody's got a loss, everybody's got a win. Oh, wait.
Minus,
Florida won.
Not everybody has a loss.
Oh,
there's three undefeated teams.
I forgot about them. Those 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about them.
Yeah, we will.
I'm assuming their losses are going to come to each other.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately, I just looked in New York and Vancouver do not play each other this stage, which is a huge bummer.
Which just builds it up for when they play again. When they play for the first time.
They're going to play in the stage playoffs for sure.
Or the playoffs. They're gonna meet when the money's on the table. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Paris and Vancouver do play each other though, so that's going to be awesome.
Atlanta's got to play one of them.
Mm-hmm. I think Atlanta might play both, honestly.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Let's go, dude.
But I'm pretty sure they also play New York.
Hopefully Jonak chases him around the map like he did on his fucking stream that one day.
God, I hope so. So
So anyway, back to the shock. Yeah, it's not that they look bad. It's just mitigating this whole 9 DPS players thing is, like we said at the beginning of the year, it's you want to get guys stage time, but you need to win.
Right.
And granted, that division is, I mean, other than Vancouver, everybody's got losses. Everybody's got like 2 losses, I think, in the Pacific.
Yeah, 1 or 2. Like it's pretty even.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Gladiators got 2.
Which is awesome. That's probably been my favorite thing about what's happened so far. Is like it has just been so all over the place, and I love it.
Yeah, that's because we work together, and sometimes you have to work at night, and then you look at the score and you're like, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
did that really happen?" I don't know. I think if they keep Sinatra and Architect, I think they're going to maintain where they are. Maybe move up a slot or 2. I don't think. I just don't see them any higher, I guess, right now, until they get that worked out.
Exactly. So at number 5, I got Soul Dynasty.
So do I.
Yep.
They righted the ship.
They did. They looked really good this week.
Fissure looked Fissure-like.
Yep.
And they worked out some of the problems that they had in the last couple games. I do. Michelle is amazing. I understand why Zumba's on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Fleta on Zarya, the same goes for him as Prophet.
Yep.
You know, you got him going there. It's just they're looking so good. And what's his name? Jessica. Their support.
Oh,
begins with it's like
Jexy. Jexy. I think it's supposed to be Jexa or Jexy or something like that.
Please follow up. I miss random English words. Can we just random English word again?
Yes. No
Instead
kidding.
of like random Eastern European word. It's got like 9 consonants in it, for crying out loud.
But yeah, like
anyway,
across the board they look really good in this match. It was just one match, and it is Chengdu, so it's kind of wonky, but they fought through the wonky. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They're like one of the only teams that fought through the wonky and didn't like. They said nope. They
didn't buy into the bait that Ameng was putting out.
Yeah, it's like, fine, you want to play rat ball? I'm just going to play goats, and I'm going to use my giant hammer and smash you into a million pieces.
Mm-hmm. And I think what really stood out was just how thorough, like they were really disciplined with their ults. They were fantastic. They were on point on everything in that match. Yeah. And it was, for me, it was good to see because I like watching them play. Mm-hmm. And it was Chengdu, but they didn't buy into the bait. Right. And they played their game, and they were patient, and they made good decisions quickly. Yeah. They just kind of had a game plan. They went in, and they executed it perfectly. Exactly. Because Chengdu's 2 wins, they baited teams out into fucking around. Yep. And that's where they win, because they can't play goats. No. So, they baited Guangzhou into playing these weird DPS comps and all that. Same thing with Florida. Mm-hmm. They just baited them out, and Seoul had none of it. Yeah. And, they beat the Gladiators, who are still, a top 10 team, even in our power rankings right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not buying that they're bad. But... yeah, they look fantastic this week. And, people might hate us for having them that high, but I have them that high. No, I fully buy into what they're doing right now. And it's the smarts. Some of it's the fissure factor with the smarts, too. It is. Don't forget about that. I mean, for sure. He's got a 900 IQ as far as the game goes. Yeah. So next we got to number 4.
Big mover.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of goats, the GOAT Kings, I got Paris.
Oh, yeah, I had Atlanta at 4, because honestly, Paris impressed me even more.
All right. Atlanta impressed me more in that they systematically bait you into bullshit.
That is true. I'm with that.
They're kind of like the same. It's like 3 and 3A.
Right.
Paris can play that comp better than anyone right now.
They can.
And you can run funky shit at them. You can throw whatever you want to throw at them. Probably one of the best anti-goats teams is Gladiators. And they just, it was close.
They're like, hey, you guys can try all you want, but we're just going to run right through you.
Yeah. And, Finzi and Ben Best Finzi more than Ben Best. I think Finzi's top 5 or 6 off-tank in the league. Mm-hmm. Ben Best is really good. He gets caught out in situations that you don't want to be in. Granted, the one thing about Paris, the other reason why I had him at 4 is they only played 2 games. There's less of a sample size.
Yeah, they really only have played 2 games, so it is tough. And
they have 1 game next week, too.
God damn.
Yeah. So they start off with 3, and then there's a couple teams that have 3 to finish up, and then Blaze and Bob said that pretty much all the bye weeks are in week 5, which is weird and fucked up, but,
Yeah.
Overwatch League scheduling.
Yeah.
So, that'd be great if New York got a fucking free week before the playoffs.
So, Paris looked really good.
Atlanta looked fantastic, too.
But, going up to number 3 with Atlanta, you're right. Like, they are masterful at baiting out ults and then also conserving their own because they're baiting out other teams' ults. Yeah.
I say, except for just Fran, he gets that grab and he just starts throwing that shit around like it's fucking candy on Halloween, man.
But at that point, he's got so much charge that he just shreds anybody that's in it.
Yeah. And, it also helps, too, that you have Defran, so it's kind of like a focus point for people. Even though they're playing against him, they don't want to say it.
Right.
But they want to nail him.
Yeah.
But their supports are, I think, better than everyone thought they were going to be.
I think that's been the biggest surprise for this team is
Dogman gets caught out once in a while and gets killed, but Dogman, Kodak, and Masa are fantastic.
Yeah, all 3 of them. And I've been really surprised that they've been able to swap out their Zens in certain situations, and it's like a seamless transition, and they are both playing at a crazy high level, and I'm that's what makes me most excited for this team.
Yeah, and
aside from everything else,
they're fun to watch too. I mean, they're just fun.
Yeah, they're super fun to watch. They just look like they're having fun playing the game. Minus just the minor the things that are going on with Defran, and I don't know if you saw there was a clip from his stream the other night where he was talking about it, and he was like, I almost quit because it was just one of those bad days.
Yeah.
And he went and talked to the sports psychologist, and the sports psychologist convinced him to stay and that this was the right decision, and he was good. And
it's just
it's just one of those things. They just got to stay on top of that, and the fact that they went out because he went into a little more depth about the sports psychologist himself, and he's like, this is a guy that is a sports psychologist for the NFL.
Yeah, you're dealing with big time nutbags.
Right, exactly. He has dealt with far more. Troubled or just crazy people than Defran. So they were not messing around. They went out, they got the best.
Yeah.
And it's paying dividends for them because
he's playing like a beast, and
he's playing like an absolute monster.
And Pokpo and Daco, I mean, there's really not too many flaws. And Erster, I mean, the team looks fantastic.
Right, and that's the one thing that also is really nice for them. Defran is definitely the X factor still, But honestly, I don't think it would be that bad of a thing if they were to, if God forbid, if they were to lose him. I really don't think they would drop that much.
No, because Neyland and Erster are good in their own right.
Exactly.
DeFran just brings a different thing. I mean, first off, his mechanical skills are stupid.
Right.
And he's as much as he doesn't want to say that he's a big time competitor, the reason why he went in there is because they fucking lost.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You just got to get used to the losing a little bit. It's going to happen in this league.
Right.
You know?
And like that's like he hates losing so much. And like it's so evident. So it's like, hey, it's just one of those things, but the really awesome thing is like they have just built such a solid team around him that communicates so well, and like they listen to him. But honestly, like I feel like no matter who is really like shot calling or doing it, like they would just be able to work around anything and just be able to adapt. Like they're doing a really good job. They've had excellent coaching as well. I feel like that's something that we haven't really been talking about with a lot of these teams, but this team especially is so well coached. Yeah. Their alt discipline is fantastic. Their ability to, like we said, to bait out other teams' alts while conserving their own, like
and that's huge in this meta too.
Yes.
You got to have the alt advantage. And, you know, sometimes people say, well, you know, someone like DeFran goes like in a weird thing and he like goes in there and he's like plowing in with Zarya and he's got like 99 charge. They're going to drop a defensive alt, you know, a trance or a sound barrier or something like that with him and, if him and a couple of other guys are going in there. And then all of a sudden you have an alt advantage.
Right.
Which he's done that a couple times. I mean, it's how you win in the league right now. Mm-hmm. And they're one of the best teams at it. So let's move up. So
let's step up. Yeah, the next two.
Yeah.
And that is Vancouver.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this team, like everything we said about Atlanta, rack it up even tenfold. Like their coaching is phenomenal. Their alt discipline is insane. They're really good at baiting out other teams' alts while conserving their own. Like,
and they're really good at just like playing, I guess, calm.
Yes.
Like in the midst of chaos, they all have their brain working. Well, and they've played together so long that they all know what the other guy's going to do, which is so helpful.
Oh,
in situations like that.
Like the chemistry that they have as a team, like it just it seeps into the building. Like you can see it absolutely. Like they all know how each other works and like when to peel and when not to and when to do this and that. Like it is like they are a machine.
Yeah. As much as our number one team is a machine, they're a close second.
They are. They're really the only team that I've seen so far that
matches that
has even come close to what New York does.
Yeah, and we said before the season started that they're probably going to be in the playoffs. After, watching them play 3 matches, I would say if they're not, I'm going to be shocked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, not in the play-in stuff, like in the top 6.
Yeah.
They're going to have a loss here and there. Something's going to happen.
And there's going to be a time where we're like, oh, God, what's going on with Vancouver?
Yeah.
But as of right now, like, this team they look incredible.
Yeah. And they
top
all,
to bottom. They just
all make ridiculous, dopey plays,
roster.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big thing. Is like, they just make good, calculated plays that win them games.
Yeah. They have that London thing with that.
Mm-hmm.
If Fury's not dropping a big diva bomb, Prophet's doing his thing, killing everybody when nobody's killing anybody. But like if you look at there was a couple like today, the first map they were playing Busan and fucking Twilight. He didn't even look and he like slept dart someone like across the fucking map. Like one of those just like I'm like, okay. Didn't see that guy, but he's asleep, so don't have to worry about him.
Right. What's so incredible to me with this team, honestly, is Bumper. Like, I knew Bumper was an incredibly good tank. I just didn't appreciate how damn good this guy is.
Well, he's our style of tank anyway. He's that hyper-aggressive kind of... He might die, but he's taking people with him.
Some questionable mistakes and some really aggressive flanks on against the Shock tonight. On Volskaya, especially. Like, there were some points where you're just like, what are you doing, man? Like, that is ballsy. I wouldn't even try that in quick play of thing.
Stop talking to Pine.
Right. You're playing Reinhardt and you're playing him like you're Pine.
Stop Pine flanking.
Right.
Or is it the other way around? Maybe Pine talked to him.
But that's what was even more impressive to me, is like, even when he didn't
get to
play right, those guys knew
what he was doing.
They were able to compensate for him not being there.
Well, they knew he was going to do that because that's what he does.
Right.
They played with him so long.
Like, they didn't... That horrible flank where he's in the... Like, beyond the choke point in the building and the first point. Like, that happens to any other team. That's an instant point capture. Your Reinhardt is down.
Yeah.
Say goodnight. Like, point is taken. And they didn't even get to the point. It wasn't until he charged... who was that? Who did he charged somebody off of the edge in the back. I think it was... who was that? Was it Architect? It might have been... I think it was Nevix.
Oh, that's right. Nevix was playing in there. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was another weird thing that they had Nevix in there.
Right?
Anyway.
One thing we didn't mention with the Shock is Violet is a beast.
Oh, yeah.
I think once they get a little more comfortable and coordination with him, they're going to be a lot better.
Yeah,
but going back to this team.
And then Janu is just, I mean...
Yes.
He stepped up. Like, he literally, for them to win that, didn't necessarily have to be that showy of a play, the 4-kill against Guangzhou. Right. It was like, I got my ult, this one's over. Got a good boop into the self-destruct, but still.
It was just a really good play, and this team is incredible.
Watching them play is like watching like a good band when they're like on.
Yes.
Like, everything's perfect. And they did it like, I don't know, every match.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think they got a little baited out and weird with Guangzhou. Well, we talked about that earlier. Like, everyone's expecting them to do the weird Chinese stuff, and they're not. Or they do it a little bit. They do it a little bit. They like put their toe in the water. They don't go full on Chengdu, where they're just like, fuck it. We'll run the new hero. Can we have him hooked up?
Right. We want to run both new heroes, so we're going to do that.
We're going to run Brigitte and Wrecking Ball, and can we... who do you think works with that? May?
Right.
Sure.
But Guangzhou pulled out some really interesting things against Vancouver, and it did work in some ways, and that's...
But like Paris, they have big brains, and they figure it out fast. Yeah, you might even get a map off.
Right.
But you're not getting much more past that.
Exactly. So let's move on to number one. What a surprise. New York Excelsior is still an incredibly good team and probably the best team in the league.
Yeah, because they figure things out. Their tanks are insanely good, and then they got Nene to play God level Zarya, and Libero doing what Libero does.
Exactly. And this team, top to bottom, is just so good. They're and what's really stood out to me is Meko and Mono always playing together. Like, the chemistry that they've built up, and not having Janice coming in on certain times, and it worked for the most part last year, but having both of those two guys out there at all times just makes a world of difference, and those two look unstoppable, and they are the best 1-2 punch for a tank combo in the league.
And the only other combo I think that's reasonably close right now is Bumper and Janna.
Yeah.
I mean, you can throw in Paris, but Paris is a whole sum of the parts thing.
Yes.
more than. Well, New York is too, but some of their parts are like head and shoulders above the rest.
Right, like, and Bumper and Janu have the potential to be that good, but they've only had 3 games to prove it, whereas Meko and Mono have had 43 games to prove it.
Yeah, and they pretty much do it every week.
Right.
And I like Animo on the Lucio better than Arc, as much as I like watching Arc play.
Yeah.
That's a better choice.
It was good. It was nice to see a little bit of Arc tonight when they pulled out their wonky setup on 66 to just really rub the salt in the wound on Houston.
Yeah, just see if you can beat this.
Right.
Nah, we're kidding. You're not beating it.
Like, just the complete and utter dismantling of Houston tonight.
I mean, they finished that. The halftime was longer than the fucking maps, man.
Yeah. Like,
they were ridiculous.
For Houston to not get a single point until the last map when it was so over.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's got to be frustrating as hell playing that. Oof.
and that's that's when we finally got to see Rage Jake.
Yeah. The Jake Rat actually triggered.
Right.
It was fantastic, though. Someone needs to do that. They're all kind of laid back. I get it. It's fine. I'm sure they all have their things. But you know what? Someone needed to lose their fucking mind on that team.
Agreed. I fully agree.
I mean, there's a certain point where baseball teams and football teams, they do that closed-door meeting. But sometimes, there are times when Tom Brady loses his absolute fucking mind at his offensive line on the bench. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to do it. And
exactly.
I don't want to hear the bullshit of, oh, you don't understand, you got to concentrate to play, it throws people off. No, sometimes you got to voice your opinion.
Yep.
And sometimes it's got to be loud and like a big fucking asshole.
Exactly, to make your point across. Like, that's
never
just how
done
it has to happen.
I've never done that in my life. Ever. I'm pretty laid back.
Right?
You worked with me in the kitchen. That never happened. I just let things happen and play out and see what, Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But this team is still incredible.
They're
like,
stupid.
Oh yeah, all they're talking about the 2 tanks, and they still got Jonak.
Yeah. And
who still continues to do Jonak things.
Yeah, and as long as you can play him on Zenyatta or Ana, you're set.
Yep.
Because, he hasn't even played that much Ana, really, and I watched him on stream over the break and all that, and I'm just watching going, okay, you're better at Ana than you are at Zenyatta. How the fuck is that possible? But insanely good. And Nene was a fantastic pickup. I want to see more Flower and Pine and Sadiobi because, I want to see what these guys can do, but it's not the meta for it. Like we've been saying,
exactly.
You have to have such cohesion playing goats.
And flexibility.
Yeah.
For those few situations where you're not going to play goats, like to have that flexibility, and that's what Nene brings over any of those other guys. That's what you need.
Yeah. Because as long as you have Libero doing the Brig, because I remember they were trying with Sadiobi and all that stuff last year. Mm-hmm. Everyone kind of just went back to you know what? Best tracker, your tracer player is going to learn how to play Zarya. Your other DPS is going to play Brig, maybe your off tank. And then the reason why is because so he can switch on a Pharah or he can switch on to whatever.
Exactly.
And all those tools that those guys have in their kit is just insane. And if the meta does shift, they have fucking 3 guys sitting on the bench that can play any DPS player or any DPS character in the fucking book.
Yeah, and they're going to be incredible at it. So it's like, this team is set. They are just top to bottom. Once again,
number 1.
Yep. That's about it.
Oh, boy, it sounds like last year a little bit.
Yeah, no kidding. But it's like the biggest difference that I've seen is just the parity. It is there, and it is real.
NFL style parity.
Yes.
Like Florida, even though like Florida beat Philly even without Boombox, you're going, that really happened?
Right.
Like I watched it and I was like, that really happened?
Right.
Okay. I was hype. I was ready to come into a 2-0 week. Surprise. Can't beat the sad pandas.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was the worst match I've ever seen. I mean, we talked about that. I know I'm going on about this.
It was.
But there was that one match. What was it last year? Was it Seoul and Philly, where they were doing all kinds of fucked up shit on Junkertown and all that?
Mm-hmm.
This match was awful.
Yeah. It was.
And was it entertaining? Sure. So I was watching a quick play match one show. I mean, we had some entertaining matches the other night when we played together.
Mm-hmm.
Were they good? Probably not.
No.
But
well, when I was actually no, it would probably be horrible to watch me just dominate the cart on Zarya for like 5 straight minutes.
Yeah, and
God.
I was rolling around playing fucking Wrecking Ball, doing whatever the hell I was doing.
Right.
I got the mystery 4-kill though. I still didn't get play of the game though. I was pissed about that.
I know, right? I don't even think I got play. Oh wait, no, I did get play of the game in that one, didn't I?
I think you did.
Pretty sure I did.
Did you, or that kid playing Genji that was just fucking ripping everybody to shreds?
The
one that called me a bronze.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
yeah.
I'm talking about the one.
Junkertown?
Blizzard World.
Oh, Blizzard World. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. Where I was just like on the cart and like literally no one was even able to touch me because we were playing against that guy.
Oh, that's right. That one we were playing against him.
I think I did get play the game on that. Yeah, I did because I saved it.
Yeah.
I had a 4-kill.
Yeah, because I had a 3 or 4 kill with Wrecking Ball when I came in and I dropped the mines down.
Mm-hmm.
When we kept trying to do that combo.
Right.
I was a little drunk though. I couldn't have.
It worked.
I'm getting better with the rat.
We got some wins.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's going to do it for the power rankings for this week. Thanks a lot for joining us. As always, we appreciate all of your views, all the times you listen to us on the various podcasts, whatever your podcatcher thing is. You know, if you listen to us on iTunes or SoundCloud or Spotify or wherever else you guys are picking us up. Thanks a lot. And if, as always, please comment down below. Tell us what you think of our top 20. We love the conversation. And we will hit you later on in the week with some picks and our fantasy stuff. And we will talk to you later. Catch you on the next one.
Catch you guys on the next one. Later.